versus Cruz. So does Uriah get the championship fight, or do we get the match between TJ and Uriah for the #1 contendership? What do you think?
All right. So right now you do have the bad blood between Dominic Cruz and Uriah Faber. That still they need that rubber match. So that's a good fight to build up. Right now, since TJ doesn't possess the belt, I don't see why Uriah Faber is going to want to get up in the morning to train to fight against TJ Dillashaw, who was at one point pretty much his protege. And it just so happened that, you know, during the course of time when he had the belt, Uriah was speaking up so that he could get the fight, I think, in a smart fashion so that he can get an opportunity to fight for the belt. Do I think he can beat TJ Dillashaw? I think he understands what his weaknesses are. And I think TJ understands what Uriah's weaknesses are. So it'll be either a very good fight or a very dull fight because none of them are willing to go out on a limb and take chances because they know that the other person knows the other one's weaknesses. With that being said, if it's between Uriah fighting Dillashaw and Uriah fighting Cruz, I think Uriah is going to go straight for the shot against Cruz because Cruz just demonstrated a masterpiece against Dillashaw in a fashion that he predicted specifically and showcased the ability that he possessed regarding his footwork, his movement patterns, his elusivity against an individual who was self-proclaimed higher striking percentage than Dominic Cruz as far as overall volume and actual strikes hit.
That makes sense. I mean, if I was Uriah Faber, I could sell a card with Dominic Cruz way better than the UFC could sell TJ versus Uriah, but Uriah versus Cruz because those two legitimately hate each other. Like there's no gamesmanship. This isn't to sell fights. This is two people who truly dislike each other. And for Uriah, he's like, Dominic Cruz's one loss is me. So I can take this guy out. Like, even if he, even in their last fight, Dominic Cruz is doing some damage there. But still, we see the 5 rounds. We see the decision. What can Uriah do? For Uriah, and this is probably going to be his last hurrah. Like, Uriah's what, 36?
Yeah, 36 now.
So he's not an up-and-comer anymore. So it's like, fight Cruz, whatever happens, walk away into the sunset there. I mean, if you win, you fight TJ. But if you lose, walk into the sunset, you can train people. He's got money. Like, Uriah's
highly paid.
So, yeah, he's made. He just loves the fighting. But I agree. I'd say if I'm Uriah, I'm like, give me Dominic Cruz.
Yeah. I don't see any reason why Uriah Faber is going to want to take a step back. I don't think the blood is that bad between him and TJ that he's going to want to go backward to face and do a contender fight as opposed to saying, hey, I want to go ahead and fight for the belt right away because he's not a spring chicken anymore. There's no need for him to wait an additional year, train 3 months, get ready for Dillashaw, recover 3 months, train for an additional 3 months to fight Cruz. I don't see Uriah seeing the logic in doing that. Unless the UFC sees merit in TJ Dillashaw's request to fight Uriah Faber. However, if you'll notice, during the time where Uriah Faber was talking trash about Ludwig and TJ, it was during the time that he had the belt. Now that he doesn't have the belt, we don't see that because Uriah sees that there's no need for him to petition for the belt, petition for the fight because the belt's no longer around Dillashaw's waist. There's no need for him to do that. Right now, what he needs to do is fast forward to the belt, see Dominic Cruz, and get defeated by Dominic Cruz, and then allow his slot to become open for Dillashaw to go in for a rematch.
That sounds perfect to me. Maybe in the meantime, Dillashaw can fight Rafael Assunção. Get that. I mean, if they made a card where the main event was Cruz versus Faber, and the co-main was Assunção versus TJ, you're telling me you wouldn't want to watch that card?
I would totally watch that card. That'll be a contender bracket right there.
And I love it when they do that. The UFC doesn't do that enough, where they put the 2 top contenders fighting on the same card as the champ is fighting, so you know what's going to happen.
Well, the beauty of it is that the fans, everybody would love the finality of having that, right? Like a tournament / bracket. The thing is that they never guarantee that individual who wins that fight the next shot for the title, because the fight, although he won it, might be dull. Similar to the Gegard Musashi fight this weekend. Although he won, it was dull. It wasn't an exciting fashion. It wasn't what we know Gegard is capable of doing. We know that he's a devastating striker. We also know that he's a very, very slick grappler. But he wasn't able to go. He didn't want to go out there and take chances against Leites. And that's the thing about creating that bracket and making that prediction and saying, look, if Rockhold and Weidman fight right now, and Yoel Romero and Jacare fight right now, whoever wins the belt stays with the belt, and whoever fights between Jacare and Romero will actually challenge for the belt. That is awesome. I agree with that 100%. But the circumstances being what they are, my man Joel Romero let me down. And you know what happened? I apologize. That's my man. I was looking forward to him crushing Luke Rockhold. That man is a beast. Now, we'll see him come back not necessarily looking like a normal human being, but he might not come back looking like a superhuman. With that being said, having a bracket, that will be fantastic with a Sun Sao in it, because a Sun Sao has that victory. But he has not been able to compete due to injury for quite some time. So I think it might be maybe not necessarily in his favor. One of the things that I commend St. Pierre about doing is that when Condit was the interim champion and St. Pierre came back from a significant ACL injury and jumped right back into championship contention. He didn't say, hey, I need a tune-up fight. He went right for the belt. So kudos to him. Now, is a Sun Sao ready to jump right back into that top 3, top 4 bracket to go against your Dillashaws, your Cruzes? I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. If it's a Sun Sao versus Faber, Faber didn't impress me in his last fight against a number, 7, number 9, number 13 guy. That guy put him through a dogfight.
Was that Frankie Cyan?
Yep.
So yeah, that wasn't like Caceres, and he just walked through him basically.
Yes.
Like, he had to earn that win.
Oh yeah.
Which is why I don't know how him and Cruz would go. I honestly believe Cruz would beat him, but I want to see that fight. I want to see that finality of theirs.
Well, it's a beautiful fight. It's a beautiful fight because when you look at Frankie Sands versus Uriah Faber, when I looked at Uriah Faber, I was looking to see new tricks up his sleeve. I was looking to see growth. I was looking to see different patterns of striking. I didn't see them. And we're talking about years removed. However, we're also talking about years removed when it comes to Dominic Cruz being able to train and grow as a mixed martial artist. Was he ahead of the curve? Yes. Are people at that level now? Yes. So the beautiful thing about it is that although Uriah Faber has had the ability to continue training, he hasn't continued to grow. At least not in his striking and footwork patterns. I didn't get a chance to see anything different in grappling in that fight either. However, he is very, very slick grappler. He actually submitted Dom Cruz. Now, is he going to outstrike Dom Cruz? I don't know. He is a very slick and blitzing. He has a very slick and blitzing style attack, and he has one-hit power. But we know about the elusivity of Dominic Cruz. So when you look at that fight, it's a very interesting dynamic because we have an individual who's been out for a couple of years, and we have another individual who's been training for a couple of years but hasn't shown that growth.